Morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Money in the Morning, aka Economic Elevation. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and every morning we get together and we work on our financial consciousness because we want to be economically intelligent. And so I hope you agree with me that that's important and that we should focus on this going forward into the future to make ourselves great again and make ourselves everything that we're supposed to be. All right, so one of the things I wanted to mention to you is that there are some indicators that tell us that there could be an economic storm that's on the way. Now, again, this is not a reason to panic. Panicking is never a solution, right? We know that. Can we at least agree that freaking out is not is not the best way to respond to a problem, right? That's a trauma response. Do you agree with me on that? And the reason that that's important is because this is something we're kind of trained to do. The black trauma is very, very high, and I've mentioned to you all that trauma it causes you to make a lot of mistakes in economics and in your relationships because you have what is it? My wife, the word she uses is catastrophize. You ever see people that where something goes wrong and they just make it into a catastrophe, like it's the end of everything? Like, oh hell no, I can't do this no more. I can't be here. I don't want to do this. I quit. I'm just don't call me no more, right? And it's kind of like, you ain't gotta always like act like you on a carnival cruise every time something goes bad, because you see the trauma. Like when now that I've been hanging out with therapists and stuff, when I sit hanging out with therapists just kind of is a little eye opening because now whenever I see like people fighting in the street, like at a Chuck E. Cheese, and the little kids are just watching, holding their ice cream, watching mama get her weave pulled out. I say, oh, that's just trauma. That's just trauma. I'll be eating my ice cream like that's trauma. That's eat my popcorn. What, yeah, right? Or every time you see somebody, just going ballistic on another person, like, and punching somebody in the face, it's like, oh, that's trauma. That's trauma, right? Like you learn these things, right? So the trauma scores are a little bit on the high side. And in fact, it just you guys know we have our Black Financial Therapy Department, first ever, by the way. We're the first institution to do this. I have to repeat myself on that because what happens is somebody would take your idea and be like, I was the first one. I was the first one to talk about black economics. Like I just, yeah, Dr. Boyce is out there, but I started in 2024, and before me, wasn't nobody talking about owning businesses. Wasn't nobody. It's kind of funny. I'm kidding though. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. I'm just joking. I'm being silly. It's really about us just embracing these ideas because we all know that being able to control our economics is that's important, right? Like having financial security matters, right? And so often we just forget that and we prioritize other things, and then when the financial security is threatened, what happens is that the whole building crumbles. If you go look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like things like security and safety are like way at the bottom. Like that's the foundation, that's the pillar. So if you know of anything about, you don't have to be a real estate expert to know that if you cut off the pillar of a building, then what's going to happen to the building? Let me know what happens to the building when you remove the pillar, or the damn thing crumbles, right? So your life is like a building, and your security, your financial security, is one of the pillars of that building. So one of the things you want to do, in my view, is really, really, really embrace financial security as just a lifestyle. Like, hey, look, we solid around here. We save, we invest. We do all these things before we go to the club. We do these things before we go on vacation. We do these things before we buy a new Benz and Nikes and all that. And you can have those things. Don't ever forget that. You can have the nice stuff, but you got to take care of the important stuff before you get to the nice stuff. Can we agree on that? Do you agree with it, right?